Which laser do you have, Eddie?
I'm sorry?
Which laser do you have?
The X3 now. I stepped up from the Niji Master 2S. I gave it to my daughter. Shared a misery. And but I bought the X3 and I'm just learning some things about how to program it to do stuff. I'm doing a little cutting board for a lady my wife takes to treatment each week. I did a little chop block thing for us to put a coffee pot on it. Yep, doing a coffee pot or a teapot. I'm sorry, a teapot. I get that confused. And
Are you using
ask my wife.
Lightburn?
I'm sorry?
Are you using Lightburn?
Yes.
That's a marvelous program. It takes a while to figure it out, but it's awesome.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
that Louisiana hobby guy is.
Yes.
He is a resource.
Yeah. And he doesn't do just the Niji. He's probably got a box full of toys because he's really good at explaining the bolts and nuts and how to set up.
He takes you through the whole process.
There's only one problem
using Lightburn, so he's really good.
Yeah, with him, there's only one problem. You can get addicted to his DVD or his YouTubes, and then you don't have any time to do anything. It is great. It is great, though.
Yeah, Ronnie Bonnet and him go meet for lunch, and I said that's got to be an interesting thing, you know, picking a brain of a guy that knows how it all works. And I watch all his videos. Some I can't relate to because he's in the other types of lasers, neon, and another one.
CO2.
Yeah, CO2. Yeah, I no use following it. I was going to buy one of those machines before I had my brain thing, but didn't quite get there, which is
Adds a whole nother layer of complications because of cooling, and you can't see it. You got to make sure you wear your protective eyeglasses.
Yeah.
And wear them anyway.
See, you know, Billy said earlier about Lightburn. If you're aware of how to work CAD for computer-aided design drawings, if you are familiar with CAD, Lightburn is just a different version of CAD. Really is. I mean, once I got past the hurdle of poor instruction from the manufacturer, once I got past that hurdle and got into playing with it like a CAD program, I was off and running. You know, I don't make as many. No, get this. I don't make as many mistakes as I was making before. Can't always be error free, but you can lower the goals. I took the Summertown block out of my window in the shop. I love looking out. Wish my old shop was gone. That's what we're working on now. I think our guy that's taking care of our lawn is going to help take it down, and I'm going to probably give him most of the tools that are out there. The things I didn't bring in. I was in Hobby Tree yesterday looking for things to play with on a laser. We went over by the air base to check on using the commissary and the base and saw a Dollar Tree. Couldn't resist it. Got some cutting boards, bamboo, wood. What else we picked up? Oh, little plastic cutting boards. I haven't done plastic. I'll find out what it's like. But they have a Dollar Tree about a mile from the house. That looks like a rat stack. It looks like the truck came in and they threw it. And wherever it landed, that's where it stayed. The one we went to across in Gretna or Bell Chase, look like a really top end department store, really top end, which was nice. It's, you know, they cared about their place and they took care. Stop somebody, say, can you tell me where? And they'll walk you over and point it to you. You know, you don't get that Walmart stuff. Yeah, over in that section over there. You know. So. It's a tough
Eddie,
thing.
I just wanted to pass along. Cade said he won't be here tonight. He sends his apologies, but he's going to spend the night with his family before he flies out at 5 o'clock in the morning to England.
Oh, that poor
So
guy.
you can say hello to everybody, but he won't be here tonight.
Oh man. Have a pretty life, a great son, and you're gonna go on a holiday to England.
He's going to work.
Yeah, he's going to go do demonstrations there or something like that.
I'm glad, yes. Well, he's good. You know, I don't want to run anybody down, but he is, when he's done demonstrations for it, it's been a learning program for almost all levels of turners. It really has.
But he's really good at giving demonstrations, and the projects are really top notch. So,
yeah.
I'm glad I'm friends with him online because he's a really nice guy to be friends with.
Yeah. Here you go, Randall Smith. Randall, that's opening up a can of worms, bud. But Randall asked the question, what to make for friends for Christmas? It's coming fast. Man, will it be on you like you won't believe, huh? What would you make for Christmas?
Last year I made gnomes for Christmas. Let's see if I can share my screen here. This is the gnomes that I made for Christmas last year. I made a dozen of them. And they were very easy to make. It's just a stick of wood and a little piece of wood for the nose and a puff ball and some fake fur. So that was really easy to make. Took me about a week and a half.
To make one?
No, to make them all.
Oh, okay.
I got very good with my roughing tool, with my roughing gouge. I have a big 2-inch one.
I got in trouble because I showed in doing a demonstration in my shop. I used a roughing gouge to go around the outside of a bowl, and I caught tons of hell over that. But the demonstration was not, you can do this or you should do this. My demonstration was, it's a tool with a sharp edge and a bevel, and if you can drive it, you can ride it. And I went around on the outside of a bowl now. Okay, I wasn't crazy stupid. I hadn't tried the inside yet. But I was just showing that if you can control that bevel, you can take that thing. You can do planing cuts with all roughing gouges. Roughing gouge is a bad name for the tool. It really is. People think all you can do is tear up lumber to get started. Not really. You can go from soup. You can just all the way through and slice it, making ink pens. I have a 3/4 inch roughing gouge by, can't think of the name of the company out of England. I got a little bit of, Sorby. I have a little bit of sweet back on it on verticals, so it's a really deep gouge, and I can fly along an ink pen. That's the only tool I need when I do an ink pen. I can run that thing downhill both ways, and I'm outstanding after that.
I love my 2-inch gouge. It makes some really nice cuts.
Yeah, and you keep it sharp and you run the bevel. Now I've got one that Ellie Avacera sharpened for me long time ago, and it was that 3/4 I'm talking about. He sharpened it for me, and he put the reverse or the mini bevel on it, a full size bevel, and then reduced it to where you have more control in curves and details. And I'm thinking this is going to screw it up. Once you understand how to tool cuts, what do you need? Somebody hold your hand all day? Learn how to tool cuts. And that's what we've done with Cade and with the skew. He has taken his time to show you how to make those cuts. We've seen a lot from members with them turning items using the skew. And those are the same members that probably when they bought it, they put it away, wouldn't never use it again, didn't understand it, couldn't get there. And I found that the problem with that is the tool manufacturer turned out the bare minimum he could to sell it. And that's when you get those kits. And with that, the bare minimum didn't bring any quality of the shaping, and it was normally rougher steel than normal, dug into your tool rest, which sometimes you need a little grip on a tool rest, but to have it on an inexpensive tool rest, have it ding it out, and you pay for those, pay for each time it dings. Tim Hatch has got something to show. Tim, talk to me, man.
Hey, good evening, Eddie. So I was out dinking around in my shop the other day with a scrap piece of walnut, trying to figure out what to do with it. So I made a little pill bowl, based off one of Dean Grimes' this end grain, or actually, I'm sorry, piece of side grain, and then had a piece of pecan that was just called my name, and another little bowl. This one's my very first bird's mouth bowl, so don't badmouth it. It's a little rough on the inside, but I got the concept, and that was the main thing, was the concept, trying to make sure I understood how to do the turning, because I'd never made one of those. That was a whole lot of fun. Really, first time I've turned green wood, just had friggin' shavings shooting over my shoulder top. And then my Thompson half-inch gouge that I picked up at SWAT, I decided it needed a good sturdy handle, so I made this out of some Osage orange. It's got a couple of grub screws in it, so I can pull the handle out and sharpen it up correctly on my jigs and everything. But I just figured I'd show that. Say good evening to everybody, and of course I'm cooking dinner for Mama, so I'll be popping in and out.
Those look great, Tim.
Yeah, they do.
Great looking bowls.
Yeah, that much wood for that much Osage orange to do a handle. Whew. That's a rarity in my neck of the woods.
Oh, I've got a bunch of it. We had some Osage orange come down there at Camp Swift, and I actually had some logs that were probably about 18 inches in diameter, cut them in half, and then I've currently got them out on the wood pile drying up so I can do other things with them. But that Osage was actually fairly dry. It'd been down about 2 years, but it turned like butter with that Thompson gouge.
Boy, and you enjoyed having those shavings fly over you. Oh yeah, that's the beauty of turning green wood, or even, well, green wood. Can't say anything else. It's, I've loved it. I used to like when I made cowboy hats. You have to start with a green log, and you can either rough it down with a chainsaw or chuck it up and start riveting it. And my wife used to laugh at me. I'd go get 2 30-gallon garbage cans, bring them in the shop, and come out with them about an hour later, completely full of shavings, and head over to the mulch pile. She said, "What is all that?" And I said, "Just didn't want to be a hat." The best demonstration I have ever done was for the Bayou Wood Turners, pardon me. And this was a good long time ago, probably 2006, 2007, something like that. And I turned a cowboy hat at we call it SKU, Skill Knowledge Education Workshop, SKU. And we did those at least once a year. We tried to do them twice a year. And it was all members teaching other members, longer demonstrations. And I'd shown a cowboy hat about a year before, and a good friend of mine, if you went to SWAT, you saw his work in the gallery, the big winged pieces with the glass fish arm and such. That was a guy named Johnny Green. He's a good friend of mine. He is a good friend of mine from Franklinton, Louisiana. And I said, if I could get a log of the right quality, I could turn it. He said, what do you want? And he named about 5 or 6 woods, and I picked one. He said, okay, how big? And I gave him the size. I said, how are you going to get that? He says, well, I own so much land over there where we do the mining. I was just going to send my horticulturalist over there to chop it down and cut it up for me. He brought me a piece of log that had been sawn off the tree an hour and a half before he got there. And it was gorgeous. I knocked the corners off with the chainsaw. And then we set up to do the demo, and I had the studio on a 2436. I had the studio to myself for the whole day. I roughed that thing in about 2.5 hours. We took a lunch, soaked it in a bucket of water, a tub of water. We came back. I ran that thing down to a finish thickness, and I'm talking thin. Shaped it all out, put it in a press to get it in shape, and to squeeze it because your head's not round. Somebody called me. You got to come look at this. Got to come look at this. It went to shape so quick. It was unbelievable. The front went down, the back went down, the sides rolled up. It looked like a Range Rider. That was the best demo I've ever done, and I love it. And every once in a while, I'll see Johnny on the Zoom, and I can see my hat in the background, or his hat in the background. Because I didn't hesitate. I'm going to finish this up and give it to you. I think his has got 15 or 20 coats of automotive clear on the outside of it. What's in my that Billy Burrow. Billy says he's got something to show. I can pop over here to Billy. Hey, Billy.
Hello, guys and ladies. All right, let me get my lights situated here. Y'all saw this when it was still on the lathe, and you gave me some suggestions on what to do with this finial. So I left it. I left it. The walnut, as you can see, I don't know if you can see the curl in that walnut or not, but
Oh, yeah.
it is, that lid is gorgeous. But the vessel looks good. I finished the inside with 2 coats of, I should have sanded it or could have sanded it a little better, but I got lazy and finished this inside with 2 coats of shellac. The outside is deft. I textured with my crown spiraling tool.
Oh, like that.
I textured the inside of the lid. I still need a lot of practice with that thing, but I'm learning. And of course, that's the finial that y'all like so much.
That wood's too pretty to cover up, Billy.
I agree. I'm glad I left it. I appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to let you see it finished, and I'll get some stills off to you, Ed.
It looks good. Thank you,
Thank
Billy.
you.
Oh, it's nice.
Billy, how you feeling? You over that COVID stuff yet?
Well, I'm over it enough to get back out into the shop. Today, it's the after effects of COVID are just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I had mine for a long time.
I woke up.
Take your time, man.
I woke up today, and I was just. I had doctor's appointments all day yesterday, and I woke up today, and I was absolutely exhausted. And I know when I feel like that, you do not go out to the shop. So I didn't go to the shop today, and I've got about a 11-foot 70-year-old hackberry laying in the backyard I just cut down Monday that I need to get to cut up and process and haul off. So I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah.
Get better, man.
Hey,
Thanks.
Yeah.
and your
Hackberry.
joints are gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Hackberry is the one that has the little dingleberries that fall off the tree.
I don't know about that, but the hackberry bark is really, really rough, and young hackberry has thorns on it. So as it's coming up, as all the saplings are thorny, and it's around here, everybody considers it a trash wood.
That's what I'm
But
thinking too. I think thinking the same thing.
and it'll sprout from the roots of the mother tree. So it's not like it sprouts from seeds necessarily. It will, but very often I find the saplings coming up off of roots from the mother tree. So I just hack them down. But I've got several mature hackberries. That one died in the winter of 2019 when we got all that snow and freeze. But one of the things I like about hackberry, it's a nice hardwood. It turns beautifully. It finishes beautifully, and it spalts faster than any wood I've ever seen. In fact,
yeah.
this one that I cut down died, like I said, died in the winter of 2019. And as far as I can tell, it's got spalting almost all the way through it. Not a whole lot, but you can see there's spalting in it. It's just crazy.
I got some down in Mississippi and brought it back home in bowl blanks, and was talking to somebody about it, and he says, "Can you go bury it somewhere?" And we talked a little bit, and I went out and put it in a mulch pile with my rose garden, which that mulch pile in the rose garden was almost 2 foot deep. And about 6 months later, it was unbelievable. I'd waxed 2 of them, had them in the shop to turn immediately. When I pulled out the one out of the rose garden, I couldn't resist. I had to stop what I was doing to go turn it. It was gorgeous.
I'm surprised it wasn't so punky you couldn't turn it, leaving it in there that long.
I've got a piece of bark for hackberry right now. I just went out and peeled the piece off. I don't know if you can see it or not, but kind of a gnarly bark on the.
It is very gnarly, and it's got, and you'll find, or you'll see, and there'll be the bark in places will look kind of circular, and it'll have a little hole in the middle of it. I think that might have been where the thorns were. It's just weird.
Yeah, this is the really mature. This came off of a log. I just went out probably about 25 inches in diameter. This just came off of, but the log's been on the ground for 6 months now. So out in the sun, the bark's starting to peel. So I just peeled this off.
Yep.
And it's got a lot of little layers on this older stuff.
Is that cottonwood? What is that?
This is hackberry, but
Hackberry, gotcha.
But the very mature, 20, 25 inch log that I peeled this off of just now.
None of my hackberry ever grows that big. It's all just kind of a shrub. Interesting.
Oh, these are major trees in Oklahoma.
Well, they are down here in San Antonio too. My neighbor gave me one last year. It's about the same big in diameter, about 2 foot across. And he counted the rings. He said he thinks best he can tell it's about 145 years old. And like I said, I counted the rings in this one that's 12 to 14 inches wide, and it's at least 70.
Yeah, they planted them here in Oklahoma on fence rows many times because it was a fairly rapid growing. And I've turned some really pretty stuff. It's got a nice pattern to the grain when it's this big.
If I remember, they cut like butter, and they're really great slicing.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it cuts nicely.
Yeah, I gauged that off of. Tim was talking about the shavings going over his shoulder. When I'm cutting something like that, and you have it shaped down, it's just a matter of aiming at the bucket, because you don't have to sweep the floor after that. Just aim it at the bucket, to come off that nice slicing. And I had a guy tell me one time that's a show-off technique. Not really. I mean, aiming for something is a show-off technique. But slicing like that is not a show-off technique. It's a turning technique. And we've heard it a lot around here, and it's very true. When you're slicing and not tearing and gouging and plowing, you're doing some justice to your wood and to your turning. You really are. If you think, well, I can sand that out. No, by the time you sand something like that, you've done a lot of other damage to the wood at that time also. So you get what you pay for. I used to turn with a guy who was a rather gruff guy, and he was a big man. And he did a demonstration for us, and he had his little box with all the sandpaper sitting on the table there. And with him not watching, we took his sandpaper out and put a red brick and a gray brick in there for him. And he got the beast turned and reached around, opened the box up, and he says, "Oh, I bought the fine stuff." He didn't miss a beat. We gave him back his sandpaper, but yeah. But Sean, he did some beautiful, very artistic work. Not over the top, over the end artistic, the way you had to figure out what the hell is that, and where to come from. He did some great OG work on bowls, and like Billy Dillett decorated one of the floor delays around the outside, and I've done one for the cancer people with the cancer ribbon on it and such. He would carve in with knife carve in details on the sides of the bowls and stuff. And I was always amazed that I was thinking that was a true artwork, and he said it's just something to cover up the scratches. There weren't any scratches. Okay, anybody else got anything gallery? And oh yeah, by the way, I don't have a co-host running gallery for us tonight, and probably don't have a gallery master in tonight. He said he was working on something on the pier. So I put a couple of folks up to co-host. I got Dave Oateson, Dave Rhodes, Billy. I'm sorry, Bray is in. Trying to look. I don't see Brenda. I don't see where Brenda popped in at. Is she in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's close
Okay.
to the west side of Ohio. What's over there? Indiana, Illinois?
I don't know. They move around so much I can't keep track of them. At least that's
Yeah.
the excuse I used when I was in high school.
Indiana's on the west side.
I've never been that far west,
I-
so I don't know.
I took my wife the first year we were together. I took her to Natchitoches, Louisiana for the Christmas festival because I talked about it. She wanted to go take a look at it, and we did that. Went over to the reservoir and all that. And she was looking at the map. She said, "You know where I want to go? I want to go to Natchez. Look, it's right there. It's only that far away from Natchitoches." I said, "Natchez? Yeah." All right. Got on the road the next morning. Went all the way across Highway 20, and she says, "When are we going to get there?" I said, "Well, it's about 90 miles." She says, No, it's only that far. There's a town called Natchez, just south of Natchitoches. There's 3 buildings in that town: a gas station, a police station, and a school, and that's it.
No
That's
bar,
what
no
she thought
church, no churches.
Nothing. That's. I mean, it is honestly. You get to the crossroads. There are 3 buildings. So used to be only 3 buildings there. I remember stopping at looking for a powder room on my way back from Natchez one day, and I said, "No, we're going to the other Natchez, the real one," which we enjoyed. It was nice, but I found out at that time she is directionally challenged. I'd walk out in the parking lot at Walmart, and I could walk around the whole parking lot going to the car. She wouldn't catch on. You only get to do that once, and then you pay for it. The price is high.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. David Rose has got something to show. Dave, say a word.
I'm
David,
sitting here.
introduce yourself.
If you can find me.
There we go. Let's see if I can
you
find me.
just came up.
Oh dear.
Now I got you, sir.
I have been making some week stands, and I don't know if yeah, you can see them. Okay. Oh boy, that's gonna
Pull it
be
back
bad.
closer to your face.
Pull it
pull it
back
back
closer
closer
to my
to your
face.
face.
There we go. I'm
Oh,
gonna turn
well, they
off.
disappeared totally.
I'm gonna turn
Green
this
screen.
strange background stuff off if I can. Maybe that's what I need to do. No, I didn't turn it off.
Are you any good at this computer stuff? What?
I'm no good at this computer stuff, I tell you. When it come back to me in a few moments, and I'll turn off this stupid background stuff.
All right.
Done. There we go. Okay, we got no background now. So there we go. Yeah, I have a little bit of a problem, and the problem is no two of these turned out at all the same. It was intentional, but I mean they turned out completely different sizes, and it just has something to do with my inability to use a ruler, I guess. But I enjoyed doing it anyway, and I'm gonna be
All that
doing
matters.
Pull it back. There we go. And some of them are out of pine, and some of them are out of poplar.
Let me see that. What's the base on the one you had in your left hand?
This one has some burning on it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think
Nice
of what it's
detailing.
called. It's that
Fractal burning.
Lichtenberg / fractal, yes.
Yeah,
fractal
Lichtenberg.
burning. I was trying to play with that concept. I don't know that it turned out perfect. It burned a little too deep, and I don't think it looks good along the bottom edge, but it's all right. I'll try something a little later. I was going to try doing some dot work on top, and then I thought maybe that would be too much. I don't mean on this one. I meant on maybe one of the others, but I like this concept of the dot work that Matt was suggesting, so I really ought to try that someplace.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have fun with it. It's a lot of fun to do.
I think it is.
That's that fractal. Help me out, Matt. The name
You're
of
talking
the
about
turning.
The
fractal
fractal
burning?
Lichtenberg stuff,
Yeah.
or the dot
Yeah.
painting.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fun to do.
No, they're both
Since we're not
fun.
AA,
That's true.
yeah. Since we're
found
not
I have no
AAW, we
control
can
over-
talk about it.
I have
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, I remember doing a demo for the club not too long ago. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or whatever. And I specifically said, don't do this, but this is how I do it when I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I take a lot of
they got it.
precautions. I hope you have too, Dave.
Yeah.
I absolutely have. Yep.
Yep, good man.
Take a lot of
Good news.
protection to not burn yourself up in the process. Electrocute.
Yeah,
yourself.
the absolute smartest thing to do is to have one electrode in the wood that you don't touch, so that you don't complete a circuit through yourself. In the
Exactly.
event that, yeah. So
That and the fact that the one that I've got is kind of an undernourished one. It's not one that I made myself. It's one that I bought online, and it's lower power than some of them. So
okay.
it doesn't mean I'm not going to kill myself if I.
As long as it's
But,
got a
it's-
dead man switch. That's right.
It's
Dead
got to
man
be
switch.
of a specific voltage in order to even work. So if it's
Right.
that voltage, then it could be lethal. So
Exactly.
yeah, you could try sand. I don't know if you've got finish on that piece yet or not, but you could try sanding it. And if it's not too late, you could even fill it with like colored resin or something.
I was thinking about that. That might be a really good idea.
Like a turquoise dyed resin would look really cool in there, sanded back.
Ah, neat. Yeah, okay. I appreciate that. Considering I'm so colorblind, I would have put orange with pink polka dots or something.
No.
I've got
I
something
think
coming in
Clarkson
the
looked pretty
future.
good on that,
I've got some stuff I'm working on that I'm laser engraving. I'm going to come back with some what's the paint called? It's the dry paint. Jesus, I can't. I'm getting old. I'm drawing blanks. Powder coating.
Acrylic?
I
Milk
don't
paint?
know if it's acrylic or not, but you can use the laser engraver to actually kick off the powder coating. I've got the stuff. I haven't got on it yet, but
Oh,
getting ready. I seen it done on a YouTube video, but I have not tried it myself. And he was actually engraving it, putting the powder coat in without moving it, and running the machine again to actually burn in the powder coating.
so he was
That's-
filling the burned cavities with the powder coating and then
Yes,
moving it again? Okay.
without moving the piece and without moving the laser engraver. So he was going back over it, and the experiment part of it was the correct power setting to not engrave, but just to kick the paint off. So that was the part that's kind of different for every engraver, you know.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I've got the pieces. I'm going to figure it out.
Well, we're
one
looking
more-
forward to the demo on that one, Billy.
That'll
sure
be
am.
it'll be interesting. The one he did was beautiful.
I'm already on YouTube looking for powder coating and laser engraving. So
I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a fairly recent. It's been like 6 months ago.
okay.
Billy, it's not a turning thing, but it's a decoration thing. Have you done anything on a glass plate?
No, I have not done any glass stuff. Well, I'll take that back. I've done a couple of glasses, but I haven't done anything. I'm getting ready to do these wine glasses that I've done. I'm getting ready
Yeah.
to do some engraving on that, on the glass itself, but kind of getting prepared. I got a lady that wants 2 of them, so she's got to tell me what design she wants.
I can't remember if LA Hobby Guy did a video on it or if it was
Yes.
a forum that referenced a video, but there's a video out there on that. The powder coat.
Yes, he's did. Oh, powder coating. I don't remember about the powder coating.
Yeah, I'm
I
talking
don't know.
about powder
I don't know who
coating.
it was.
Yeah, it was either one of his or in the forum, his forum that referenced. Because I watched somebody doing it. But now
He's
finding
one of the first guys with it.
You can also use powder coating powder mixed with epoxy to fill small voids and
Oh.
stuff. I've used powder coating powder in
Wow,
epoxy
that's-
many times, and it works great.
Oh, that's great. It's a nice pigment color that you can. It's cheap too.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons I use it. I do I powder coat small things when I need to, but I've got, I don't know, a couple dozen colors, and I've used a bunch of them in it. They work great.
I want to get the little small powder coating tool and learn to use it.
The critical part is the oven.
Yeah, just if you're gonna do just small parts, all you need is a small toaster oven.
Yeah, my toaster
But if you're
oven
gonna
does
do
fine.
big parts, you got to have something big. And I don't plan on doing that.
Yeah, I built some parts for tools a long time ago, and I bought the kit at Harbor Freight and a couple of different colors powder. I enjoyed playing with it. Really was nice.
Makes a mess.
I
That makes it
stored it-
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it washes right out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, tell that
exactly
to the
right.
boss.
Just vacuum it up with a vacuum, and you're good to go. So
Yeah. I don't ever tell the wife that it comes out in the laundry because I bought red jumpsuits when I was with a search and rescue team, and I don't know why I thought you could wash with anything. No, you couldn't, but you shouldn't, or I shouldn't have. It's just everything had a little nice pink.
Nothing white anymore.
I don't think anybody's not guilty of at least doing that once in their life.
Yeah.
He ended up with tiny pinkies.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Billy. If I was in an accident, I'd get my underwear off before the ambulance got there.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I was hunting at a place in right outside of Natchez, Mississippi, and one of our guys took a bad fall. And we got back to the camp and we looked at it. It was way beyond our help. So I put him in the back of the pickup truck and took him up to the hospital. As we got to the hospital, he says, "Can I go to the bathroom?" I said, "No, they'll take care of you in here." And he said, "No, I need to be in the bathroom." I said, "It's okay. It's okay." And we got him in there. The doctor started to remove his pants and he's just laying there with this look on his face. I said, "What?" He says, "I'm wearing pantyhose." Because they were having it thick and it was warming for him. But I said, "That's okay. The doctor thinks you're rather cute in them."
That's what they wore. That's what they wore before wetsuits and the frogmen. So
Oh, hey, I wore, when I was diving in Alaska, I wore long handles under my wetsuit and I wore pantyhose over my long handles. It helped get the wetsuit on and off a whole lot easier, and it helped keep me warm.
Hey, Billy, have you ever used this before? It's a Prevail amazing spray system.
I have not.
It's something I used years ago, and I just recently found it again. It's actually an aerosol sprayer with a glass jar, which makes it nice, and it comes with a lid, so you can put your paint in there and store it in there. And I think it's like $6 at the hardware store. It's an aerosol, and you can spray it, and it has mixing ratios of how to get the viscosity right. So what you've got, you create your own sprayer. So if you want to spray like I'm going to be spraying the tempera paint instead of brushing it on,
right?
I'm going to spray it to get an even coat on my glasses when I do the engraving. But this is something that I had a hard time finding, and I finally stumbled across it again, and it's a pretty neat item for the price.
Where did you find it, Billy?
It's just a hardware, just the regular hardware store.
Okay. I used
In
that
fact,
years
I bought
ago at
2 of
a
them.
fiberglass shop.
We used to use them years ago before I retired. We would use them, and we would actually mix some heavy duty spray paint, and we couldn't leave it in there long, but at least you had touch up paint available without having to get a gun.
Yeah.
So we would use emerald. We were shooting emerald in, so we'd have emerald paint, and we could keep it in there and keep it chilled, and it would last about 4 to 5 days. And you could thin it out and spray it and do a touch up on an item without having to have a paint gun or very little prep.
You have to clean it?
It's plastic. You just spray some thinner through it and let it sit,
Huh.
So like I said, I haven't used it with latex yet. I'll let you know how that works. But there's no reason latex should be probably the preferred paint to put in it, but it does have all the viscosity mixes to get it right. It tells you how to thin it and how thin to get it. But the neat part about it is it comes with a little jar. So if you buy another one, instead of buying the refill, you just buy a whole other kit and you end up with an extra jar.
And that's called Prevail.
Prevail, and it's like $6, $6.99.
Such a
They
deal.
sell it on Amazon, but I found it in the store right by my house. I was impressed.
I do some two-part epoxy paint, and I used that to spray a little area that I had to do, and it worked out great. It's like an aerosol can, and you putting the paint in.
Yep. I got a little mixed up right now. I got some touch-up stain from a pavilion that we built outside, and I keep some stain in it. So if I see any spots I missed, then it's ready to go.
Great item.
Yeah. I have a note in from Sue, Safety Sue. Ugh, who knew the warning for the hurricane included me? LOL. I bugged out to Okeechobee, but we're getting a lot of wind, 50 to 60 miles an hour. Be careful. See you folks next week. As from Safety Sue.
Yeah, Okeechobee got hit pretty hard.
Okeechobee. That's over. Wow, that's not far. How far? She didn't go very far, did she?
No.
Well, it's in the interior.
higher.
It's in the interior though, which is supposed to, I've got family
Okay.
that stayed in their house in Port Charlotte, and they've had, some pretty serious winds. So at least it wasn't where they were the last time a hurricane came through there, which was on the beach. So
Oh, I'm just glad it's coming on through. It's not stalling the way we got it over here last time was horrible.
well,
Yeah.
it wasn't moving very fast when it was there, coming ashore. It was moving somewhere below 10 miles an hour. It's moving like 6 miles an hour or something.
Yeah, it took hours.
Yeah, Fort Myers got like
Ruh-roh.
broke records for
Am I still
storm
here?
surges.
Yeah.
Billy, can you hear me?
Which one?
Me
Okay.
or
'Cause,
Dillard?
Well, either one. I saw your face up first. I froze out on Matt's conversation. I don't know if it was linked his way or my way or which way it was, but I keep wanting to clean something off my screen, and it's not on my screen. It's a thing on the wall back there. I'm just gonna probably move it.
I think it's probably your internet. Your internet, Eddie, goes through Harahan. I think that's probably the problem.
I love it. I love it.
That's a local joke.
Eddie, it might be your camera lens. You're getting a lot of like light artifacts, both on the side of the screen and from overhead. So I don't know if that's it or not.
I was supposed to put a light fixture up in here a couple of days ago. I bought some LED fixtures, and I've got one over the work table here, one over the lathe there, and the studio for my wife is loaded with them. It's the right color, but the headband couldn't come in and do it, and she's got to do the drilling. It's funny. This is a woman that till she met me, there was not a lot of this drill, move, stand, nail, all that. That wasn't in her bucket. Wasn't there. But then my oldest daughter, she could build a house all by herself. She could. I went in the house one time and said, "Oh, nice hardwood flooring." And she said, "Yeah, I put that down the other day. It's that interlock stuff you stick on." And her husband said, "Yeah, she did it." He couldn't even carry the boxes in from the carport. But she makes do. Billy Burt says it's not the volts they kill you, it's the amps. True. So, we went high school.
Current, though.
No. In high school, we used to build these step-up transformers that you put a 9-volt battery on. And you
What
had,
you call that? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You don't pick it up. It says don't
And a
shake
car
it.
coil.
People don't shake it and knock the crap out of them. Oh yeah. I used to
yeah.
make those.
My dad we had an old type generator in a shop, telephone cabinet generator, but a big one. And he would take a capacitor going in and crank it up and load it up and just put it on a workbench and walk away from it. He knew me and my brother would walk in and pick it up to see what it was. Just knew it. And you'd hear a pop.
Yeah, I could hear the spark from here.
Yeah. I mean,
You got the Van de Graaff also. When you were in high school,
yeah.
the Van de Graaff, everybody watch it, the zap.
Oh yeah. You'd find out who's the scared one in the room. You put everybody's hands together and put the two people on opposite sides of that step up transformer and step it. You find out what girl or guy didn't want to really hold on tight, because that's getting a pop.
Or the girls in their hair would stand out.
That was in the days of frosted hair. I mean, it was. I saw a lady, an elderly lady, my age, in the health club the other day with the big poofy hairdo and everything and full makeup. She was going in to do her Zumba dancing thing. She's probably out to pick up some old guy that's in here, my wife gives me a hard time because I don't wear a wedding ring, and all those ladies in the pool want to talk to me. I said, well, warn them. Let them know what they're in for if they take me home, because it won't be fun. So, all right. We got a little bit, we got a few minutes to go before we go to Greg Bray for our demonstration tonight. With that, if you got something to, wait, I see it here. Dave Rose, we already did that. That was something to show. And that's, I think I'm caught up on the gallery at this time.
I've got something.
Well, who's that? Roger?
Yep, that's me.
All right, Roger, you're up. Go ahead, sir. We're looking at you, Roger.
All right. I turned another one of my vases,
Oh, man.
Ooh, pretty.
but I
Go
didn't
off.
offset it enough.
It's still pretty. It's still really pretty.
It is.
It is pretty.
You can't say you didn't offset it enough because it's gorgeous. It doesn't matter how much you offset it.
Okay, here's another one that I did that I blew through the side, and I tried to patch it. And that didn't work at all.
Don't move it too much. You're hurting my head.
Yeah. Ain't that one of them there like, what do they call them? Drunken rolling pins and drunken vases, things like that? Where they get all the segments put together?
Does your
And here's
mind
what it
try
looks
to?
like before it's turned.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
And before I glue it up, I put a black veneer between them, each section. Then when I get 2 halves done, I save this piece here. And it's got the right angles, and I can run this through my drum sander, thickness sander, and flatten the 2 sides to make sure it fits good before I do the 2 halves together. And then here's one that's glued up, ready to turn.
That's nice.
Now, is that one
nice.
offset or
What's that?
is that one twisted like you did the others or?
It only gets twisted when I turn it.
Oh, okay.
It's glued straight, and then you offset it when you turn it.
Like the
So when
like
he
the
turns-
wrinkled Christmas tree thing.
Yeah. So when you set it between centers, you cock it a little bit, right?
Yeah, you cock. Well, the one side you go one way, and the other side you go the opposite. So it is
Right.
And the more
How
you
far are
cock
you
it, the more
going?
you get the.
How far are you moving each end off center?
Well, I don't know, probably 3/4 of an inch off center.
Oh, that's quite a bit, yeah.
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 And that's in a 12-inch span or how long is your piece there?
Well, this piece is 12 inches, but it's too long. I'll cut it off. I'll cut about this much of it off.
So in 8 inches or something, you're gonna
Yeah.
move it 3/4 on each end, huh?
Yeah.
That's neat. I like your little snowman back there, or is that a cat? What is that behind you?
Well, there's a snowman back there, but
Couple of snowmen.
that's not one I turned. Now here's a snowman that I turned.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, yeah, a little open segment.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice.
Pretty. Boy, those are little bitty segments.
Yeah, they are.
There's over 2,000 pieces in that one.
I bet it
Oh,
is.
boy.
Ouch.
Pieces.
Wow, that's awesome.
Hats off to you.
That's nice. Boy, thank
Yes.
you, Roger.
You're
Boy,
welcome.
Boy, if you want to see the best in the world, you're going to see it right here. And if you want to see the best website in the world, go to worldwidewoodturners.org. That's the best website for wood turning ever been, ever, and they're all shooting for our our star because we're there. And if you got something to add, it goes to our website. If you have photographs, our website. If you have tips and tricks, website. And also on our website, you can do it through chat, but you can list if you have a YouTube channel, a Facebook channel, a website, et cetera, that Dave takes all the information and stores it in the best place possible, right there on your desktop. And all you have to do is go there and be part of it. And if you want to be part of the contact list, you put the information you wish to share with the rest of the membership. And remember, we don't have a membership list. Our members are worldwide, but we're all fair people. But we don't want to be attacked by the bots, the robots that attack when you put it out there. So our membership list is a plain document. It will have the information you wish to share. It's alphabetized by first name because a lot of times that's all we get on the screen is your first name. And Dave will take the information you put in chat, put it on that list. When you go to contact, you'll find a link to it. And that's how you get to the list. And it'll ask for, Dave, did it ask for a subject or a password?
Well, it asks for the subject, but you actually put the password there. And that's
Okay.
Captain with the first C capitalized. Everything else is lowercase.
Okay. And within moments, seconds, milliseconds, you'll receive an email that contains this list. We just ask that it's yours. You're a member of the club. Store it on your computer, store it on your iPhone, your iPad, whatever. Store it, keep it, use it when you need it. If you're looking for somebody, that's how to find them. Scott Hampton's got a. Scott, can you tell me what that is? I'm having a hard time reading it tonight, sir.
Yeah, I've got 2 IRDs coming up. One's this Saturday, and the next one is on the 15th. This is going to be my holiday series that I'm doing October through November. And I'll be doing demos, online demos. That'll be probably like 1 or 2 weeks apart each one. I've got 8 planned altogether. So these are the links to the first 2. The first one is making holiday ornaments. The second one I've got listed there is for birdhouse ornaments.
Good. All right, sir. See if we can pick that up for you. And folks, if you have something that's part of our events list, that'll be in the events list when Dave picks it up from the chat tonight or tomorrow. And boy, Dave hustles right to this stuff. He does. But it'll be on our events list. If you have another event, anything to do with word turning whatsoever that you like to share, IRDs, club meetings, symposiums, workshops, whatever, you put it in a chat. Let Dave know it's an upcoming event, and he will add it to our event list and everybody in the world to know. Right now, we're going to pop over to Greg Bray. He's with us tonight, and we are going to, let me see if I can, try and see if I can find him on the list here.
Got me? I thought.
Now you do, Gray. Dave, I didn't have you for a moment. There you go. All right. Folks, this is Dave Bray. He's going to do a little demo for us tonight. Conditions on the demos are real simple. He is doing this demo. If you have questions, whatever, you can ask him at the end of the demo. If you need a little help or explanation, you can ask me at the end of the demo. But it's Dave's demo. I want to see how Dave does this. I don't want to see how David would do this. I want to see how Bray would do this. So let's get to it. What's your turn tonight, sir?
Okay, what we're going to do tonight, here about a month ago, we was talking in the meeting about doing some lasers on hollowing, and that's what we're going to do tonight. I've got a base on the lathe now, and this is some of them that is, we're going to do. This one was out of white oak. I might have showed this one before. I had several out of white oak, and then here was another one out of white oak. Oh,
that's cool.
And it's something a little bit different. And then here you can, with these tools that I got, using a 5/8 diameter cutting tool, I did one like this, and of course I paint pictures on them. And then let me take a measurement of this one and give you an idea with the 5/8. And this one's about 9 1/4 inches long. So with the 5/8 tools, I did one like this. Now it was a little bit tough, and this was probably stretching it a little bit with the 5/8. So you would actually should probably go up to about a 3/4 inch diameter cutting tool. And then the bigger, if you want to go bigger than that, you can go up to a 1 inch bar. But I kind of stay on the small end. This is probably one of the biggest ones I do. This right here is one I just did the day before yesterday. This is a piece of box elder. It was actually right above the one that on the tree that the one we're going to do tonight. I've got a whole bunch of box elder right now. So that's what I'll be turning for a while now, especially all the Christmas gifts. And so this was a very good turn. And that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. I've got one that I've already roughed out. What I do is I will take and put a log like this between centers. And then I will actually rough shape this thing out and get a look at the wood and determine which one I want the top or bottom. At that point, then I will put a tenon on there. And once I put the tenon on there, then I will put it in the chuck. Now, that's where we are right now as far as the on the lathe. So let me switch cameras. And here's what we got. I've already turned this in between centers. I put my tenon on there, and then right now I've got it rough. I got it roughed out, and I will rough it out almost to the point that I like before I put it in my chuck. It just, I've already got it in that position. It's just easier to do that way. So the first thing I'm going to do is since I flipped it around, I'm going to go and make this outside part in the shape that I want. And then once we get to this, and then I might sand a little bit on this. I doubt it if I'd sand very much in a demo, but then we're going to come down here and we're going to hollow the inside of this out using a hollowing system. And there's many different hollowing systems out here. I'm not out, it don't matter which one I've got, but the one that I do use is a Trent Bosch. I've used Lyle Jameson, I've used Tim Yoder's, I've used several different hollowing systems in the past. This is just the one I landed on. They all work well. So let me go on and get this started up. I think cameras are very good right now. And if y'all got any questions or anything, we'll answer them. And let me get started. First thing I'm going to do is put my face shield on. I'm using a bow gouge for the rest of this on the outside. And right now I want to focus on smoothing this all out. And if you are cutting with the bevel and sliding through, I want to show you using this right here. This is a little aid that I used in teaching that it shows you which way the grain's going. And if I take this tool and I'm on the outside down, and if I start out here where the big part of the vase is, and I'm going down, you can see these black lines are the little straws that run up and down the wood that you can tell that I am laying the fibers of this wood down. So on the inside, it goes reverse. You can tell if you was on the inside of this and was cutting. Let me grab a hollowing tool. If I was on the inside cutting, I would be laying these black fibers along this line right here. So I would actually get a smoother cut if I cut downward until the biggest part of the vase. Once you get there, then if you look at this black line on the red right there, if I'm cutting up, I'm going to be laying down the fibers that way. So you always want to pay attention to which way you're laying them fibers down to get less tear out. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay.
Very good.
I always like to use this, especially when I'm teaching classes, is because it really gives them a visual on which way the grain's going and which way you're cutting. So this does help. Once we get to the inside, we are going to hollow this out. See, can you see that? And we're going to drill a hole all the way to the depth that we need. And then that is section, that's the first step. Now on my smaller vases, I do it in 3 steps. If my bigger vases, I would do it in 5 steps. I would go 1, and then I'm going to hollow out 2 right here. And then I will hollow out 3 right here. And get my wall thickness all the same as we go down, just like that. You know, so when I'm doing a larger vase, I would go 2 and 3, and then out here would be like 4 and 5 as I hollowed it out. So I would break it up a little bit on bigger vases. So that's what we would be doing on the inside. Now we'll get started. Let's turn this lathe on. Get my face shield down. I always want to turn my lathe to 0 and then pull the knob and gear it up. And I always want to increase the speed, because anytime I start the lathe up, I want to know what that speed is. So if I get in the habit of turning it to 0, I know I'm starting at 0, and then I can work up. And actually, I'm going to turn it up around 1,000 RPMs, and using a sharp tool. Now, if I could lay these bevels down, and I want to slice through the fibers of this wood, I can clean this right up. One more pass. I'll look at it, and you can tell if you're sliding that bevel across there, I don't have any tear out at all in that. Got one little bitty tool mark there, so I'll come back and get it out. Okay, now I want to come and I will work on this top side. Yep. One more cut. Okay. Now work on the crown. This thing right here, I like to put the biggest part about 1/3 down. And if you'll break it up and put it in everything you do in thirds, it's more eye appealing when people look at it. Okay, I'm going to change the mouth a little bit. And I'm going to come and I'm going to put a little bit of a lip on it. Just like that. I kind of like that. Okay. Shut it off and we'll look at it. It's pretty good. Got a little bit of a tear out right there I need to clean up. So I'll come back. That looks good. Okay. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time sanding on this, but one thing I would do right now is that I would put some lacquer sanding sealer and acetone on this. Anytime I'm turning green wood, this is something that really helps. Plus, you get to see what the wood's going to show you as far as the character in it. And I mix this 50-50. It's lacquer sanding sealer and acetone, 50-50. And if you got some punky wood or do have some tear out, this will stiffen up those fibers and it will help you clean them up. That's not a bad looking piece. It's not a lot of character in it as far as the one that come right above it, but it'll work. And I'll turn the leg down real slow. I'll just let it dry. It won't take but a few seconds to dry here. Let it spin there a second. What happens is this lacquer sanding sealer will fill them pores up. If you had to put some super glue on, especially on light colored wood, to fill up some cracks and voids, and you got a run or something up on the wood, this lacquer sanding sealer will keep from staining the wood. So it really, really helps. The acetone actually will help start drying this piece of wood, and it would actually suck some of the moisture out as it evaporates. And I usually sand with a small drill, just like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good, actually. Okay. And I would spend a little bit more time sanding this if I was just doing this for, outside of a demo. But right now we want to take this and we want to back everything out of the way. And I do want to take and I want to double check my chuck. And I always check both sides. That's just a habit I got into. Some people say that you don't have to, but if I turn this side and I spin it over and I turn it some more, it tells me that I should do both sides. So let me find my. I'm going to make a little bit of a dimple down in here on my drill bit. Speed going up. Okay, you get a whole lot cleaner to cut if you slice across those straws running through that vase. So now, let me take this lower tool down a little bit. If I can get this thing to work. One second.
If you're just joining us members, this is Greg Bray. He is turning a piece for us, and he will be doing it with a hollowing rig. Show us a little bit about how to empty that out. Boy, is that box out, they got some gorgeous grain in it or what? He's already shaped the outside by slicing cuts and applied a sealer. Here we go, Greg.
Okay. This up a little bit. We'll get my tape off, slide it down a little bit. Get it marked so I know how deep to go. Now, the tool that I used there was a what we call a gun drill, and it has air blowing through it, and it blows the shavings out as you drill down through there. Pretty simple to use. Make sure my camera is not going to hit. I think I'm going to be able to clear it. Let me get there. That's it. There we go. Does it look all right to you all? Okay, I want to explain something. I got three different types of tools here. This is a straight tool. Then I also got two other tools, these crook neck tools. And what these are is to get in around the rim here as we get it open. Sometimes if I can make it all work with the straight tool, that's what I do. I only use these if I need to get around that. Once I get away from the neck of the vase, then I will switch back to my straight tool if I use one of those. So let's start her up. Make sure everything's tightened down. The speed going back up. Okay, let me check this off. Let me get y'all a little bit more light in there, and you see what I'm doing. Does that help?
It's a lot of light. They're gonna do all right.
Okay. My hand in the way. And it don't take much pressure. It doesn't take much pressure at all to clean this up. Okay, that's what's going to be going on this camera. Now, I'm going to turn the laser on, and we're going to switch back to camera number 1, and that is going to give you this. Now, I want to back out of here and show you all how to set this up. What I do is it comes with this little gauge here. And I want you to determine where the laser is. Can y'all see that? Where the laser is. And that is how far much I want to cut. So each little ring that you see on there is 1/8 of an inch. I usually like to do it maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit less. But you got to remember that this laser is this angle from that tip. So as I'm on the inside and determine which angle that this shaft is going in there is how I'm approaching the wood on the inside. So I don't want to set the laser down here off the tip if I'm working over on this left-hand side. So this is how I set it up. Then you got these little Allen wrenches that I can go in here and I can move this little laser around a little bit, just like that. Did y'all see that move?
Yes.
Okay. And then I can actually set this exactly where I want. And I know that when I'm cutting on the inside here, let's take and put this inside the vase. I want to blow this thing out while I got it off. Okay, now, off camera, can you see that? Okay, can y'all see the little light on top?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now that's going to help us determine how thick this wall is as we're cutting it. So it kind of takes some of the guesswork out. So let's get started again. So y'all can follow my tip as I turn. Yeah, you see that? Can you see the light? Can you see the light on it? I think we got this flipped around maybe. But that light right there, it determines when that light falls off of this piece of wood, I know I'm at 1/4 of an inch approximately. So that's what I'm doing. Let me switch places. I'm down to where on the inside where the big part is. So now we start coming back up. So what I'm doing now in that little diagram I showed you, I'm working on step number 2. Number 1 was we drilled the hole, and step number 2 is I want to take this down about halfway. And when you got a real wet piece of wood, if you will work your wall thickness down and from the top, as that base shrinks and stuff, it'll move on you a little bit. You don't have as much problem. You get the wall thickness as you go down. Okay, as I get away from this vase, I'm going to take this pin and I'm putting it in there. And so now I can get a little bit of leverage from this, from that pin. And plus I'm going to put the longer handle on there. Like that. So now I'm going to way down and step number 3. Yeah, I can pull it right up the pin in order to okay, let's stop this lathe, and I'm going to blow this out again. We're getting a lot of shavings down in there. Okay, I'm pulling it out, and what I'm doing is checking to see where my tip is in conjunction with the laser as I go toward the bottom. So the laser is actually a little just a fraction away from the tip of that. Okay, let's roll it out again. And we're right on the edge of that vase. Plus this is a rough cut on the inside. And I'm all the way down to the bottom to the depth I need. So what I'm going to do now is I've got another little tool, and it's a scraper. I'm going to take this scraper and just clean the sides up. So let me take this handle off. Turn that laser off just to change the batteries. That's one thing that I don't like about the laser. If you leave that thing on, the batteries run out. And I've left it on a few times. I say, come back and it's burnt out. And I said, what in the world's wrong? So now I want to turn my laser back on and just kind of get it lined up to this scraper. I'm going to put the scraper right on the edge, just like that. And I want that tilted down a little bit. I'm going to put the handle back on. Okay. I'm going to start at the top. I'm going right to the biggest part. Now I'm going to start at the bottom. That might be all it takes. Stop and look at it. Blow it out again. Okay, we'll take that other camera and let you peek down inside of it. And that's got a pretty good finish on the inside with the scraper. Now, I will sand these if I can't get my hand down in there and some tools. I will sand these all the way out. A lot of times I'll have just a little bitty opening in there, and I'll sand where a wood turner can get his finger in there because he's going to feel of it, but nobody else would notice it. A lot of times I will paint the insides of my vases black. That way, you know, you can't really see down in there. They're interested in the outside. My holes are so small that, you know, the inside is kind of minute. So you just kind of do whatever you want to do with it, you know, and you can spend as much time sanding as you want. Let's switch back to one for right now. I've got my grandson here helping me, and if it wasn't for him, he's the cameraman. Yeah, he just works it all up, gets it all set up, and I just come and do this part.
That's a safe way to do it, getting the grandchildren in there.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it when it comes to technology. So I'm going to take and
Sounds pretty smart to me.
turn this on, and I'm going to slow the lathe down, and I'm just going to stand right around the rim here with my hand. I'm not going to finish this vase. This is just one for the demo. I might spray it sometime and finish the outside. I might sand the inside a little bit more, but and just give it to some little kid. They would enjoy some of this stuff. So yeah, and that looks really good. You take my. Yeah, it could stand a little bit more sanding down there, but I'm not going to spend the time sanding. And so that's how I go about hollowing these out. I've done it for years by hand, and about 3 years, well, it's been about 4 years ago, I had a shoulder surgery. And I tell you what, it was a long time before I got back in the shop to turn anything. And especially at that time, I had a lot of urns to make, and I was getting behind. And so I had to have something to help me. So I started searching and trying to determine which one I wanted to buy. I had an old one somewhere around here that it worked all right. But this model here is Trent Bosch, and he makes all good tools. John Jordan's got some good cutting tools for hollowing, and I mean, Lyle Jamieson's system is very good. I've used it, and I almost bought his, but you know, I'm not. You know, they all do a good job. They got one thing out there outside of the laser. The next step up is called the visualizer, and you got a monitor, and you can actually tell on the monitor and watch the monitor as you hollow out the inside. And it is a very, very good setup, but it's also expensive. But this helped me in that time with the shoulder surgery. It took all the pressure off my shoulder as far as hollowing on the inside. And I really like it. So it was a very, very good investment for me. You know, couple, you know, one urn to pay for it, you know, especially, you know, some of the bigger urns that you turn. Now, is there any questions anybody got?
Okay, come on, members, step up.
Anybody?
Wow.
You ever
See,
use
that was interesting.
you ever use that with side grain, or is it just end grain?
I have used it with side grain, and it works. You just got to take your time with it. End grain is a little bit easier. You just got to remember with side grain, you got to remember which way the grain is going. I've done some vases where the pith is running through the middle of the vase and hollowed them out with this system. And you know, it gets a little bit rough sometimes, but you can do it.
Was the purpose of thinning the lacquer sanding sealer with acetone just to make it dry faster?
Well, it's also stiffening up the fibers of the wood. If you got a piece of wood that's real funky, and this one here was a little bit,
it stiffens those fibers up as you may, start sanding. It just makes the sanding process a little bit better. But the key to it is getting a good smooth cut off of your tool so you don't have that tear out.
Right.
So if you slide that bevel across the face of that wood, and I say slide, you don't want to push in, you want to slide it across the face of the wood, and you will get a smooth cut with very minimum amount of tear out. The tear out, is just very hard to sand out. Just like I think Captain mentioned that earlier at the start of the show about, you're gonna have to go back to your bow gouge and actually just slice those fibers off, and it cuts sanding down to a minimum. And the lacquer sanding sealer mixture, I've used this for probably 15, 20 years. And it helps dry that vase out a little bit. Once I get them off the lathe, I will put them back down in some sawdust, wet shavings, if it's a real wet vase, and let them dry out in there for about a couple of weeks. Open the bag up after a week and just mix it around a little bit. What happens is that I think, in my mind, is that them shavings pull the moisture out of that wood, and the brown paper bag is pulling the moisture out of the shavings. So it dries out in about 2 weeks, and then I'll let it set up and air dry. Of course, after that, you can go and finish it out the way you want it. I do lacquer spray most of my bases. This last base that I did the other day, I tried something different. I finished it, put some the Parfex 3408 on it, and then I come back and sprayed it with lacquer afterwards. I like that. I think the Parfex is going to stabilize that wet wood. This wood has been down a while. It's not real soft and wet, but I think it was going to take and pull the rest of the moisture out of that, and that Parfex glue just kind of stabilizes that wood. I sprayed this with lacquer just yesterday, and the finish is really, I'm really satisfied with the finish on this. I probably wouldn't have had to spray it, but I've been spraying lacquer for years, and it's kind of hard to break away from that. If I buffed it with the Vonex, it would probably come out just as shiny. That would be a question I'd have for you all, because I haven't played with that Parfex that much. Good question. Anything else?
Can you back the camera up a little bit and show us the tool you had there, the arm?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
How's that?
Yeah, that looks good.
You see, it's got the laser up here, and you can see the laser right there on my hand.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the point of the tool. It's a very good setup, and it's a solid setup. I've been really pleased with this. It's and I looked at a lot of them. One of the kickers from my little mind is that it fit in my banjo and it was solid. I like that part of it, and that's one of the reasons why I went with this, because I had used one of a friend's, and then I watched several videos on this, and this thing is pivot back and forth, the arm, and I like the pin with the leverage on it. You can move it in different places. You don't have to move your tool rest. Once you got this thing set up, you're good to go. The next thing I would do is that I would actually come in here and I would get me my distinct bottom, and I would reverse chuck this and jam chuck it and cut that bottom off. I think we've seen somebody do that here a while back. Dean Grimes has got a really good video as far as making a jam chuck to get these tenons off the bottom of them. Any other questions?
Great demo. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Hey, can you show us your shop?
It's a mess, but I can show it to you.
Excellent demo.
Here, we're kind of because the camera and cords and stuff were kind of boxed in here. Let me have-
A whole lot of information for sure.
Of course, I just moved in here about the time I hurt my shoulder, and my dad passed away, so I had all his tools, which was his tool in his shop. But he always said one of these days all these tools will be yours, and he was right, because as we wore his out, we replaced them with mine. Because I grew up in the cabin. You know, I turned my first rocking chair when I was 13 years old. So I've been around this for a long time. Here's my Laguna bandsaw and the Performax sander. And right now I'm building some kitchen cabinets for my house. And I got another little lathe right here. And this is my Bill buffing system is set up on it. Of course, I got my planer right here. And I got another Delta lathe. This is one I do most of my spindle work on. Of course, over here, I've got the table saw, which is a mess right now. All this wood on the side of the shop, I was in the process of putting this up when I hurt my shoulder. And this pile of wood right down here under this mess was supposed to be around the rest of this shop, but I never did get to it because of my shoulder. And then I've got a bunch of fronted stock back over here. And then I got a bunch of burls. And this is an old cart used in the cabinet shop that on wheels, and I put a shelf on it, and I can move it around. It's not in my way. When I'm planing a lot of wood, I can come over here and just move it out of my way. And I really like the cart because it really gives me a lot more room when I'm doing some flat work. So that's kind of my setup of the shop. I am playing around. I'll show you one thing I turned yesterday. And I'm getting ready to do these for a store. And it's a little snowman wearing a coonskin cap, holding a knife, and this is going to a knife shop. I got to come up with something different on the hat. I'm not really pleased with the hat, and I'll come up with something, but he wants to sell these in his store. So I'll be coming up with that. There are some more snowmen. This is one of this year's model of Frosty that I've been doing. I do a bunch of these every year. So this was one, they're a little bit dusty right now, but this is the one that was last year's model, throwing a snowball. And that's about it. Here's some smaller vases. These were, I hand turned these.
That's nice.
With big tools. I didn't use small tools, believe it or not. And
Those are nice.
It's a nice set. Here's another one. I think I showed these one time on here, but there's probably some people hadn't seen them. But there's the bigger one of the three. And I just keep these around because I like them. And then here's a goblet. Oh, and that's pretty much my shop, which is a mess. So, any other questions?
I'm good, folks. This has been one great demonstration by Greg, and he did a good Halloween for us and showed us some great tools. A lot of comments in the chat about the tools. I have the JT Tools version of it. I've had an elbow, and I've also built some double knuckles that had their own stand that went on a lathe that adjusted the height. Using the 1 1/4 inch solid square stock. And I had a whole crowd from the club come here one day and do it. If you haven't tried one, go to one of the trade shows, go to a workshop and ask somebody if you can. Once you've used one, you won't be able to do without it. You really can't. Thank you, Greg. It was a fantastic demonstration, sir. Thank you to your grandson for the awesome camera work tonight.
You're welcome. And I got one more thing that I want to show you, and this is a depth gauge. And I used to use it before I got the laser. I used to use this. You know, we're always talking about tools that we make, and this is one that I'll show you how to use it. Let me slide everything back out of the way. And switch cameras here. Let's go back to one. Okay. And, you know, if I can go in here and I can get the depth and I'll lock it down and I come out. Well, I didn't lock it, but, and then I can actually, when you keep it locked there, I can lay it on the top and it'll give you the exact depth that I need, that my vase is, just like that. I can go in there and I can see exactly where my bottom is, especially before I part this off. So that's a good little handy tool right there, and it's simple to make. And that's all I got. And then thank you guys, and be safe.
All right, Greg. Thank you a lot, sir. It was Greg Bray giving us a little demonstration tonight. We really appreciate his help this evening. And we're always open for demonstrations, always. And what Dane Chandler normally handles lining those up. And I'm going to leave Dane alone at this time to do it. He's a little preoccupied, but he'll line up our demonstrations. Last week, we lined up one for October 26th. Yeah, circle that date on your calendar, folks. We're going to have fun because it's going to be round 2 of tricks and tips, or tips and tricks. It's one way or the other. But we're going to invite you in to show us what's in your shop. Show us the tools and gizmos and gadgets and knickknacks that you have made to help making wood turning a easier project or a safer, like Greg just showed us on that depth gauge. That's an idea that you can build. And then you have something in your shop that's your tool. And that's important to most of us. We want to go in and build things for us, by us, with our ingenuity. So that'll be October 26th. We have about 88 people in shop tonight or something like that. I can't read it. But we are opening for gallery anytime now. And I'm asking Dean Grimes if he can help me out tonight for handling gallery. Dean, are you available? I guess Dean's not at the desk right here.
Eddie, Tom Kenny said he has something.
All right. Hey, Tom, talk to me, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
I got two things. A couple of years ago, the club had a drawing, and my wife and I won a class at Aramont. And if you haven't gone to Aramont, it's quite an experience. And we spent a week with Sally Alt. And one of her, the subject of her class was put a lid on it. She had all these creative ideas for finials. So after taking the class, wife and I were out riding. We're on our way to a friend's house, and I saw someone had cleared out a house, and there was some debris on the side of the road, and we stopped and took a look. And let's switch cameras. This was a walnut hollow form. And that finial was actually a piece of roadkill curtain rod. And I popped the end off it and put it on top of the finial. And it kind of livened up just a walnut hollow form. And it's a large hollow form for me. That was about probably 12 to 14 inches tall. So it was a nice piece. And the second one I have, Walt Wager did a demo for us on doing a spiral finial.
That's pretty.
Hey, we lost your video, Tom.
Is that back?
I can't. Okay, now we got you back.
There we go. The base of that thing was a holoform that I had turned, and I brought it to the club show and tell. It's a piece of granadillo on the bottom and some curly maple on the top. And Walt said that thing needs a finial. And he did one of those carved finials in a program for us here a couple months back. But he did a finial, and I believe he used mahogany for that. And that was a piece that sat on my desk when I used to work for a living and got a lot of comments. And it's still one of my favorite pieces. That's all I got for tonight.
That is some beautiful work. Really, really nice.
Thank you very much.
That's one of those pieces you put on your desk and you tell everybody, don't touch it.
Yep.
Don't touch it.
Dave Kingsley said he had something too, Eddie.
Dave, talk to us, sir.
I'm a talking. I'm right here.
All right, Dave, now I got you, sir.
Beautiful. I've made a couple little walnut bowls. And this one was a big surprise because of the
pull it back towards your face. Yes, sir.
The wrinkle in that was,
yeah, it's got some curl and it's really nice.
it was just below a knot of a big limb. And I was hoping it would be there, and it was.
Pretty.
It came out pretty.
Always a surprise, isn't it?
And then this was a hollow form I've been working on for some time.
Right there.
And it's walnut. And the finish is just carduma wax.
Ooh. Yeah, I tell you what, that's a pretty piece. Don't spray the inside black.
I love walnut.
No, oh yeah.
Great, Greg, you do that not for wood turners, but Dave, don't do this for anybody. Don't color that out. That is a gorgeous piece of wood.
Well, and I was playing around and I wanted to experiment, and I was just, this may end up as a something else, but this, it's not much of a finial, but I was testing to see. I had one of those big black crayons, and that's a piece of maple, and I just melted in the black crayon and buffed it up, and then I sprayed it with lacquer.
Cool.
It's ugly, but at least the finish turned out nice.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
But you know, it's ugly. That's in the eye of the beholder, and it's a very good-looking piece.
Yeah, I don't find it ugly at all.
Well, what I'd really like to do with this is put a screen on there for a potpourri.
Okay, they make those in standard sizes. You may have to resize the opening.
No, I think I turned this the majority of this a while ago, and I think I sized it then for a one that I already have. I just
okay.
It's buried in my shop underneath a pile of junk somewhere. I'll find it.
I got some in the box right. I got some in the box right over there.
Yeah.
Right over where? Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
You mean I'm not the only one with that problem, Dave?
Oh,
What's that style of art where they put a little spiky thing inside there and then stick plants on top of it so it sticks straight up? That'd be a good piece for something like that.
Oh, you could get some of the florist screen, or
I think it's called a frog.
And that would work.
Was it? I don't know what the thing is called, but it's a big spiky thing that sits on the bottom, and it's got these spikes, and you just the goal is to get the whatever you put into it to stand straight up.
I think it's called a frog.
Okay, you guys probably know better than I do then.
I got another question for you. What do you guys think about this? This is a heat sink off an old computer. I was thinking about casting that in acrylic or epoxy and then turning it. And I don't know.
Is it aluminum?
Yes.
Yeah, heat sinks usually are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it would look cool.
Yeah, it
It's
would.
very dangerous to do, Dave. When you get it all synced up and everything, send it to me and I'll do a video showing you how it works out.
Okay, sounds like a plan. That's it for me. Ken.
That's our safety tip of the week. Okay.
Dave, before you do that, make sure you clean all the oil off of it.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
And I want to trim these tabs off the side too, and because it does have a lot of dust in it.
Yeah. Give it a good brushing with acetone.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Beautiful work.
Thank
We
you.
got some beautiful gallery going on tonight. And it looks like Billy Bird stepped up to be my co-host, helping with the gallery. So if you have something to show, put it in the chat. Billy will tell me you're there, and then you got to start talking, and then I can find you, and yada, yada, yada. That's how it goes. We don't have a safety tip tonight, or we didn't have a safety tip tonight from Safety Sue, because she lives in Tampa, Florida, and they're having a rough time right now. So Sue said they bugged out and went to Okeechobee for better weather, where it's only 60 or 80 mile an hour winds. But hopefully Sue's going to be all right, and we'll be talking to her again next week. I think at the same time, we had a couple other good members that we have been dislocated because of the storm, and a couple others that is coming your way. So be careful when you're out there. I guess the Safety Sue says, pay attention to the warnings. Pay attention to the warnings. All right. Anybody else for gallery tonight? Pop in if you like to.
Haven't seen anything yet.
Ron Radcliffe says that is Radcliffe says that is a frog, and he put the link to it in the chat. So if you wonder what that we were just chatting about, oh yeah, we went from turning to lasers to frogs. Then that's where you can look it up at. And this is an open forum. Yeah, the chat is not controlled for advertisements and all that. No. This, our chat, our talk, our program is as designed 3 years ago. This is made to be, it's non-sponsored, non-partisan. We don't have advertisements or partners in this thing. We're here to talk about wood turning, but our chat is here to help other wood turners. So if you see something, you use a tool, you have an idea about one, you have a pro, you have a con, goes in the chat. That's how easy it is. And our chat gets posted to our website by Dave Rose, our Master Woodmaster. He'll put that up. He'll take out the information if you put in there for a to be added to the contact list. He'll take that information off the chat before he posts it to the website. I'm just keep it a little bit more secret, and that's where you'll find how to get a hold of other members.
Eddie, Tim Hatch says he's got an idea for how he can modify his Tim Yoder elbow tool, the older style like mine, to fit his Jet 2021, because with the tailstock on, it's a little bit too short. I have the same issue with my 2014. So if you want to see how he's planning on doing that.
Are you there, Tim?
Yes, sir. So the issue I have, and by the way, Bob, I love the oboe tool, but this thing is a friggin' beast. It is long, and yeah, I could cut down my cutter bar, but that wouldn't do me any good when I get a bigger lathe. So I'm not going to do that. So the way this whole thing hooks up is basically this goes to the tailstock. And I thought about doing Billy Burke's way of getting an M2 Morse taper blank and then cranking that on the blank. But the other idea I had was, well, searching the internet, I came across Captain Eddie's snake hollower that he built. And then I also looked at Tim Yoder's elbow tool #2, his design, and I also like Trent Bosch's design. So what I came up with was a piece of 1/2-inch steel. I got a plumbing fitting for a 1/2-inch pipe mounted to the 1/2-inch steel piece there. And you know, they don't make 1/2-inch plumbing fitting. It's actually 5/8. So I went to Tractor Supply and I got myself 5/8 inch bolt about 6 inches long, and my concept would be with a stop. Now I've got this little stop here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of 1/2 inch steel, and this is about a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. I'm going to drill a hole into this thing so I can mount it onto the bolt here. I'm going to take this portion that adapts to the tailstock off and mount it to this piece here. So that'll replace this piece, which will then obviously mount to my bedways, and I can position this any way I want. So
That should work.
yeah, I
That's a
think
good
it'll
idea.
work. It is kind of a culmination of Captain Eddie's, Tim Yoder's, and friggin' also the easy hollowing system. Right now I just can't afford one of them high-speed systems if I'm trying to save money for a lathe. So, but Bob, I did want to put a shout out to you. Hey, I appreciate the elbow. It did work for me on the piece that I was working on. I need that extra room. So the options are cut the bar down or come up with a different plan. And I think the different plan is going to work great for me. So
I think
that's what I got. Hopefully,
That looks like a good plan.
hopefully it'll make people's little juices flow around their head on how they can do their own. I
Correct.
was in the process, honestly, before I got this from Bob, I was in the process of building my own, and I'd gotten hold of this this 1/2 inch, by 1.5 inch stock, and I got about 3-foot section of it from my local metal supply. And I was just going to build a quick little articulating arm, but Bob offered me this other tool, so I took him up on it, and I appreciate it. But it's definitely a step in the right direction because, with that wrist injury I had, Greg was talking about a shoulder injury. I put a drill through my wrist through and through a couple of years ago working on my horse trailer, and I don't have the dexterity and the ability to grip for that deep hollowing, or anything over 2 inches just kicks my butt. So that's what I got.
And for
Thank you,
those-
sir.
And for anybody that might be curious about what he's talking about, the way I modified mine so that I'm not clamping it to the quill of my tailstock, I have a demo for my elbow tool coming up on the 19th here on Worldwide Wood Turners, and I will show you that modification.
Thank you, Billy. And Tim, I'm glad you didn't take that 1/2 by 1.5 inches and make an articulating arm. There would be, even with 1/2 inch steel, there's going to be a harmonics in it. They're made, most of those other units are made with 1 inch masses, and it can be aluminum, magnesium, or whatever. I made mine out of 1.25 inch square stock. Should have seen the look on my metal guy's face when I said I want 1.25 inch square. But I picked up a ton of it one time. It had about 25 club members come over, and we fabricated 25 of those elbow tools on one Saturday. The drilling, the bushings, everything else. Machined them all out and never had a reject on a single one of them. It was tools they made and they can use. And if you make them the right size, any size machine will work. You can't take the big one and put it on the small one. It's or the small one and put it on the big one. A little bit rough. But it's a good combination of parts that'll make it work out. Tom Kenny says he has one more item to show. Tom, you have to talk to me, sir.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
We have you up.
Okay. There was an old woodworking trick. If you dent a piece of wood, you can put some liquid on it, put water on it, and sometimes a steam iron, and you can remove the dent. And I knew this. And I made this hollow form, and I carved out these little panels, and then I textured it. I used a needle scaler to texture most of it, and then I took a reciprocating carver with a blunted nail to do the detail work up to the carved portion. And then I decided it's a piece of magnolia, and I decided it would probably look better if it was black. So I took some black dye and I dyed the whole thing black, and I went into the house and came back out to see what it looked like when it was dry, and all my texturing was gone. That dye had swelled the fibers back up, and so I got to do it twice. So before I did it the second time, I hit it again with the black leather dye, let it dry, textured it, and then I did I sealed it with some sanding sealer, and then put some black lacquer on it to make it shine a little bit. But it turned out kind of interesting. I found that carving is my weak spot. I did a horrible job on carving. I was kidding with a buddy. I said, yeah, I went to the Ray Charles School of Carving, but the texturing was quite interesting. I actually asked John Jordan how he textured some of his pieces, and he's the one that gave me the tip about taking the carving blade out of your reciprocating carver and replace it with a blunted nail, or a domed off nail. And it works like a charm. And you just—
Oh, that's a great idea. Wow, I got to try that.
It's really fun to do. And what you do is just do little circles, just like you're scribbling. Just circle around, and it puts a great texture in. And I have a couple of different reciprocating carvers, and I found that the Automock is the most expensive one, and it really, you can tell the difference between it and the Ryobi. The Automock's got a lot more oomph to it when it does the texturing. And that's it.
Well,
That is a
turned
pretty
out really
piece.
pretty.
Yeah. All right. I think we have John Weber up right now. John, I'm going to come over to you, sir. I have to, hold on. John, you disappeared all of a sudden for me.
I feel
You
like
have
I'm
to-
right here.
You have to talk to me, John. I'm going to blank this out.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Just keep talking, Tom. You'll come up on
I'm here.
screen.
I'm right here.
There you are. Okay.
How about that?
All right. Thank you. All right, John, you're up. You're on it.
All right, here I got a spalted maple hollow form.
That is pretty spalting. Pretty form, but pretty spalting.
Yep, it's
That's really nice. I like that.
yeah, had a couple splits in the top. I just filled them in, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's character, not splits. That's character.
Yeah, well, you know, I saved it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, and then I got a small bowl. Small oak bowl that I did.
What is that material? Oak. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I like it. I liked it.
Yep, it's looking right at you.
I'm glad Brenda's not here tonight. See, she'd see a smiley face in there.
You'd figure out something.
I see an alien.
Yep, so that came out pretty good. Yep, that's all I got.
It did. Thank you, John. Good
You're
looking.
welcome.
Really. All right, folks, if you want to show something, put it in the chat. I've got something to show. And I think we have somebody up. Who do you, Bob Grinstead said Terry's iPad has something. Terry?
Yeah, you got me?
Oh, now we
Hello?
do.
I'm right here. I'm still right here. There I am.
You still, there you are.
I'm looking as ugly as ever. I don't know if I showed this last week or not. It's just a little offset goblet. These are really fun to do and really easy. It's like a 15-minute job, 20 minutes or so. I've made several of them and I've demoed them a couple of times. They're real easy to do. And
You know,
the
there's a
finish
guy-
is Sparfix 3408. Huh?
There's a guy in your neck of the woods, kind of gruff guy. He did demos like that at SWAT.
Oh, yeah. They're pretty easy. I use 3408 on it because it's fast. Because as you're doing this, you have to finish it as you go. If you want to finish it on a lathe, what you need to do is you turn the cup and the top of the bottom, just like it was a little vase. And then you need to finish this, and this, the inside before you go on, because you're never going to be able to get back there again because it's going to be offset. And then you just turn it in the, I have it just in a chuck and I just turn it. This one I turned like 7 mil off. And because it was so short, it's only probably 5 inches tall. But they're a fun project and easy. There's a lot of videos on them. And someday maybe I can put one together if I ever get the phone to work. But that's not really what I wanted to show you. The last week, at the end of the week, one of my friends called me and was clearing a lot out, and they cut down a live oak tree. And unfortunately, he had cut it down before I got there and moved it all around with his track hoe and scuffed it up real bad and cracked it up a little bit. But I took in, and this isn't finished, it's just rough. It's a natural edge. It's made out of live oak. And I took the one in, you can see at the top that I've still got the tendon on the bowl. I'm not finished with it, so I didn't want to cut it off. But I drilled a hole, and it's got a lot of character to it. It's kind of pretty, but it's got the bark on it. I actually drilled a hole in the base. I'm not sure I like the base, but that's where I drilled a hole in the base. And when I get done with the tendon, I'll just turn that into 1.25 inch tendon to go into that hole. And the base itself is this is all green. We just cut it down like Saturday. And I couldn't decide what to do with the bottom. And I didn't want to leave all the bark on because it's so rough. You can see how much bark it's got on the live oak tree. But so I just turned it down a little, and I left the bark inclusion in the side of it. I'm not sure I like it, but I figured I would do whatever it was. Nothing's set in stone, so I can always change my mind. But got to do some sanding, and been a little while since I did a natural edge bowl, and I didn't get quite the finish off the tool I would have liked to had. And I got it down in the sides shallow enough so that I really didn't want to go anymore. It's pretty thin in places. It's down to like 3/8 of an inch, which is kind of small for such a big bowl. It's about 17 inches in diameter, about 24 inches tall.
Really
I've done
nice
several
piece.
of these. I kind of like them.
All right.
Thank
you, Terry. Appreciate it, sir.
That's that, and that's all that other stuff that's sitting around.
Yeah. Every flat surface in the house is taken up. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I have to make more flat surfaces.
Yeah, you can tell the wood turning when you walk in the house. Now, if it's flat, it's got a piece on it. All right, Terry, thank you so much. You know, while we're in Terry's neighborhood, we can always pop into another guy in Corpus Christi, and that is Joaquin Vincent. Hey, Joaquin, talk, sir.
Hey, Cap, how you?
I'm all right. We got you now, buddy.
Okay, I think I seen Doug Miller do this piece on a video, and there's a bow, and then he scorched it, and then he took a wire brush on a 4.5 inch grinder and took all the soft out, and then he covered it with white embellishing wax and finished it. I don't think I like the shine. I think I'm going to put a satin on it, but it was fun to do anyway.
I think it's pretty like it is. I like that shine.
Yeah. Boy, I got some mixed feelings on it. I'm trying to visualize how the details will pop out and grab you when it's dull or when it's got a polish on it.
Well, before I put the shine on it, I was really happy with it. And then I don't know, but I can always put a satin on and put the shine back on or something.
Yeah. And
But the wife's happy with it, so it's probably going to stay that way. But in our UK Zoom club meeting today, we had a challenge. Michael Clarkson, you're supposed to cut out an object and then turn it. And so I picked a 5-sided pendulum. This is a piece of ash. I haven't taken the tenon off of it. And so I wasn't happy with that. That wasn't enough challenge. So I decided to do something else. And so I did a maple leaf, cut it out on the bandsaw, and dished it out like a bowl. And so
Get out of here. That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Pretty, I like that.
I
like that.
I've got a lot of the corners, I hit the corners, and I need to do a second one to get it down to where I really want it. This is out of walnut, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'd like to do a little more dish or something. It's challenging to do one more, a little bit better, a little bigger, and such as that. But it was fun showing all the different things that we had today.
Well, since you don't like it, I'll send you my address and you send it to me and I'll keep it for you.
Can I be the
You're
way
quick,
between?
Bob.
You send it to me. It's clear. My address is on the site,
Yeah.
Okay. But thank you, Joaquin. That's some beautiful work, really.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Enjoy
Hey,
doing it and showing it.
Eddie Martin says, can I come in on what Tom was saying?
Ken Martin, you got to speak to me. I was going to introduce you until I saw Joaquin pop in. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I was listening to what Tom was saying about the technique he uses of adding water and lifting the grain. I come across this about 7 years ago. There was a demonstration by a local guy, and apparently it's a Japanese technique. And I was interested in it at the time, and then it's one of them things that you sort of listen to and then move on and do something else. Last month, I'd been asked to do a demonstration for a local club of mine. So I decided that this might be quite a good idea to do. But anybody that wants to do a demonstration, the last thing you want to hear is, I'm going to show you something that I've never done before. So what I did was I spent 2 or 3 weeks just having a play and a bit of practice. And I could kick myself tonight because I've had a run around the workshop, but I'm sure all of the sample pieces that I did, I have put on the fire. So never throw anything away that you've turned or you've had a go at. Go back to it. But I have found 2 pieces that I did on the demonstration that night. It's done slightly differently. It's when you bash the timber and then you cut away the excess and re-raise what was bashed. And I'll show you just on these 2 balls that I did on the night, and hopefully you might be able to see on the camera. But you can see here, these are all raised.
Right.
And they're bubbling effect. So what you're doing is you're actually knocking into the wood, bashing into the timber, and then putting it onto the lathe and turning off the excess timber until there is no marks. And then you put it over steam, and the steam instantly draws out the marks. What I did is I practiced with lots of different things, bashing the wood with hammers, bashing the wood with different spikes, different metals, screwdriver ends. If the spike is too sharp, it splits the timber. What you're looking for is something that's quite nice and rounded. And I ended up turning myself 2 pieces of blackwood at different dimensions and just giving it a nice round end and then bashing that in. But I think with a lot more playing around, you would get a very, very different effect on a bowl. It is certainly something that's very tactile to touch. And it really does raise the grain back up. So it's not carved. It's difficult to show you on the camera, but there is no carving in this. So you could put dots all the way around the bowl or just in a section of the bowl. These were just sort of demonstration pieces to show people, and all that's done is just held over a kettle.
It's very obvious that it's raised, Martin.
Yeah, it is very obvious.
You can see it.
But
that's a great idea.
It's a great technique and it's good fun. What I will say is, I tried on oak And what happens is the bubbles that I wanted kind of elongated. They almost went like eggs. The steam traveled down the grain. I tried it on ash and it traveled down the grain also. It elongated them bubbles that I was trying to create. Sycamore, beech, sapele were all really good results. So if you are wanting to do that technique, use quite a tight grained wood. It doesn't work as well on your open grain timbers. But it's a great thing to do and a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun over 4 or 5 days producing a lot of different textures. And I think if you added the raised texture to a carved texture, it would achieve something very different on a ball edge. So that was what I wanted to touch on quickly on what Tom was saying. I have also been turning this week. And again, going on from what I was saying last week, if you're going to put something onto your lathe, think about the sizing before it goes onto the lathe. Think about what it's going to be when it comes off the lathe. I've had a clock to do this week, and because of the size of the clock, I've had to put a spindle in to hold the clock. And where the spindle's positioned, I wanted the clock face to actually go into the spindle. So what I've done is I've cut the spindle before I put it on, so the spindle was square. That's the clock. This spindle was square, and this was cut out when the spindle was square before it went on the lathe, and then just turned between centers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.
Hey, Martin, with the denting technique, what about something like a nail punch?
That's very nice, Martin. It's pretty.
Or maybe a screwdriver.
Screwdriver didn't work for me. At the club, lots of the guys started talking about leather punches and that kind of thing. Could you actually raise the grain of a letter or a number? My answer to that question is don't know, because I've never tried it. I think it might be too small. The dent that you're making in, I think it might be too small to raise back up. So it wants to be quite large. What I did do with one of mine was I drilled a hole in a square blank. Then I turned the blank round and curved it slightly at the end. And then I bashed that onto the wood. And that did give me a complete circle. It gave me a ring on the actual ball. So there is a lot of things that you can try, and certainly I had 74 people at my local club demonstration, and the amount of people that have said, I'm going to go and try this, and I've said, come back to me, let me know what you're doing, because it saves me the job. So if you are going to try this, let's see your results. Hit it with a hammer. If you're not a wood turner, you can be a wood basher.
So you put it in steam, Martin? You steamed it in a bucket or something?
No, what I did is basically with these, when you're bashing them, I turn them differently, because when you're bashing them, you want stability. So what I did is I put it up against my chuck. I turned myself a chucking point in the square blank. That's where I stopped. I now put it down onto the floor. No, I didn't. I put it into the chuck, and I just trued up the edge, just so that this was flat. I then took it off the lathe, put it on the floor, and I bashed these dents into it wherever I wanted them in it, where I knew my outside edge was going to be.
But you need that supporting wood, right? In order to, so you don't
square supporting wood. Otherwise, you'd get bounce. So I've got a square blank. I've bashed it all. I've put it back into the lathe, and now what I do is I cut it off until I can't see any of the dents. If you look very closely, you can kind of see a little mark. You can see roughly where they are, but hardly anything. It's almost clean. Then what I did is I just put it over the top of the kettle. So when the kettle was boiling and the steam was coming out, you could probably put a pan of boiling water on the stove, get the steam, pop it on the top. It doesn't need to be on there.
Yeah.
Put it on there for a few minutes, lift it up, and you'll see that the pimples will start to come back. You can keep adding it, but I didn't find any benefit leaving it on there longer. So once you're happy with what it is, you can then put it back into the chuck. I'd sanded this beforehand, and now what I did was put it back up to the chuck, turn the back side of the ball off down, created my new chucking point, and then turned it round, put it into the chuck, and finished the ball off at the front. So you are turning it backwards and forwards a bit. It is a different way of turning a ball to what most of you will have thought about, but the results are fairly good.
What made you want to do that, Martin? What inspired you?
I saw a demonstration many years ago on it, and it did. I found it very interesting because it's not carving. It's kind of the opposite to carving. What you're doing is you're asking the wood to come back to where it was.
Yeah.
And you're taking away the wood. And to somebody who doesn't understand what you've done, it's an effect on a bowl that they would think you would take hours to create, because to try and all them little balls, you wouldn't, you would really struggle.
It's anti-carving.
Was your wood green or was it kiln dried, Martin?
No, it was kiln dried. It was dry.
Okay.
And Martin, it was side grain and not end grain, correct?
That's another very good question. It does work, but not as well on end grain. The side grain is far better for it. So try and stick to your side grains on your bowls as well. I did do one that might be still by the fire.
Because you're breaking the grain. You're fracturing the grain. Fascinating.
No, just the opposite. You're denting the grain and not fracturing it. If you cut the grain, it's not going to pop back.
Don't know if that's showing anything, but this one.
Yeah, I can see it.
This one has not been raised yet. This hasn't been over the kettle, and so you can see where I've cut it back.
Right.
And you can just see them tiny little dents. But I did about 13 or 14 little tiny pieces like this, just to see if it was going to work. Just test pieces to see what woods would lift and what woods wouldn't lift. I might have another piece of oak somewhere. I've been having a bit of a tidy up in my workshop, so unfortunately a lot went on the fire pile. No, I thought I had an oak one somewhere. So I can't show you the oak one, which is the elongated one. Really annoying. I just didn't think that conversation with the steaming or the wet would ever come up, but it has tonight. Well done, Tom.
Thank you.
Well, the elongated ones could have an interesting effect, though.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's, like I say, there's an awful lot that you can do that would create the different shapes and the different textures. Somebody said, can I use a bar? Can I use like a tool and bash the tool into it to give me lines? And again, my answer was, yes, you can. Try it and let me know what the results are, because I've never done it. There was only so much I could do in a couple of week period, trying different things.
Right.
But yeah, certainly, if you're going to have a go, somebody sent me a picture today, and they've done one, and what a lovely result that they've ended up with. I'll see if I can find it in my conversations quickly.
Your call has been forwarded to an auto.
Do you have to sand it, or can you sand it?
Can you see that?
Oh yeah,
cool.
Like it.
So they've had some lovely results with the balls on there.
Right, that's pretty.
Okay, Martin, you kind of threw a challenge out to his membership.
I've definitely put a challenge out.
Yeah, you did. You threw a challenge out. Okay, I'm waiting to see it, folks. Members, you've seen it. Now plug it in. I mean, Joaquin's loving to do it because he turns banged up work all the time, right, Joaquin?
Absolutely. I am gonna try it.
Eddie
All
Howard
right.
King said he's got something to show.
Howard, when you speak with us, sir, please. Howard, if you start
Hello.
talking, I can find you.
Hello.
Now I
Hey,
got you,
hey.
Howard.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You're up and on.
I got a little thing here to show you. It's a vase, and it's supposed to be basket illusion. And what I did, it's made out of cherry. I had a cherry limb, and I put it on the lathe, and I got the general form that I kind of wanted. And then I parted it in half. Of course, I had a tenon on both ends of it. And so I parted it in half, and then I hollowed this out, hollowed this part out, and then put a tenon and mortise in the middle and put them back together, glue them back together, and then open it up from here. And then I put beads, 3/16 inch beads on this, and I think there's like 120 beads that goes up to the top. And then I had an indexing wheel, and I put 72 lines on it. And then I went through and burned between each of the lines. And I think there's like almost 45,000 burns on this.
Wow.
And, I had this at SWAT last year, and I think on Billy Burt's video, he makes a comment that it was just too much work for him. So
Yes, I did.
anyway. but anyway,
Yes, I
anyway.
did.
So and I put an oil finish on it, and I sprayed the inside black for give more of mystery to it. So, but anyways, it's about 21 inches tall, and
That's a big olive farm.
It's just as lovely as it was the first time I saw it, Howard. And yes, I do not have the patience for anything like that.
I'm with you, Billy.
I think I wore out my patience also. I don't think I'll do another one.
Well, thank you for sharing that, sir.
Okay.
Already. We got a few minutes left, folks. If you got a gallery item you'd like to show us, pop it up into the chat right now or call our attention to it. We'll do so. We're going to call Martin's idea the ball dimple detailer. The ball dimple detailer. And 2 or 3 people have got me in PMs. They make different size bearings, and you might get them at a bearing place, but be careful. Drilling those is really going to be difficult because they're not mild steel. So, but I want to see what you come up with. I really do. I really, let's see what we can do with Martin threw at us. It's a great detailing idea. It's really unique. One of our members mentioned, Patrick said, you're not fracturing the grain, you're compressing the grain. Exactly. If you have something that's too sharp or too much of a corner and you push it in, you will cut the grain. If you push it in, it's like if you hit the molding on with your hammer. You can steam iron out to get that hammer track out of that molding. You can steam it out because it's not, you didn't break the fiber of the grain. So it's nifty to do this, and I like this. I like to see the results of what he threw out there for you.
Eddie, I have one more thing I'd like to mention. That the reason I stumbled upon this idea of using the steam iron and the damp towel was I got fumble fingered. I was parting off a hollow form and I dropped it, and it landed right on the waist of the bed and put a beautiful, not a gash, but a dent right across the shoulder of the hollow form. And I was really surprised that using the steam and a wet rag raised that back up, and I was able to finish the project. Otherwise, it would have been firewood.
Yeah, that's an old furniture maker's trick.
Yep, it's a good way to
Yep.
save your hide.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
I believe it's some type of Japanese or Chinese technique going back years and years and years.
Yep.
You know, it's just been developed. They always say there's nothing new in wood turning. There's just a lot of fun to be found. You know, sometimes you think you found something new, you can look back through the books and you'll see it there.
Yep.
You know, and some of the old things you can reinvent, and that's why we all turn. You know, we all love reinventing, trying to reinvent, recreate and inspire. That's the main thing. By coming to clubs like this, you know, whether they're live clubs or internet clubs, you should be getting inspired. You should be going to your lathes and wanting to try and turn something that you've seen tonight, last week, the week before. I've learned something tonight. Don't throw the old test pieces away.
Yeah, just tell you what not to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I did the thing about the bruised lumber. I did a large building, and we had hundreds of doors come in. And as I had somebody unloading them into a trailers to store them, I went out and said, "Where's that cardboard coming from?" And my lead carpenter says, "They were stacked between the doors, and we figure we ain't gonna keep the cardboard to throw them away." Until that point, every door they had unloaded had grooves and marks in it from the sawdust and dirt that came out of the ports where the drilling for the high handles and knobs. And when they laid one door on top of the other and rolled it, we ended up with a bruise. And I know I spent 6 months ironing doors. Unfortunately, it was in wintertime and I could use the heat, but I had a little valet type iron, and I'd spray the doors down, wait a few minutes, and steam them up. And that's like somebody said, it's an old trick. It's an old cabinet shop trick. You did throw it away if you bruised it. If you cut it, that's another game plan. And I think Joaquin's going to take Martin up on his chat, on his tip, which is good. I want to see more and more of that kind of stuff. Anybody else on the table tonight? We've got a little room here. About 10, 12 minutes. We're going to pull the plug on this thing. If you'd like to chat, if you've got something to show, you got a question, you got something we can help you out with, step up and let us know. That's what
I'd
Worldwide
like
Wood
to say
Turns is all about.
something, Eddie. I would
all
like
right.
to say something, Eddie, a little comment. You can find
Is
me
that
again.
Terry?
Yeah, it is.
You're on there. There you are.
I got the camera turned around backwards. I just wanted to
that
say
was good.
last
That was a
week,
good.
maybe I misunderstood something last week, but I thought I heard someone say that Mark Soleil did not have any more Varnex 3406. And anyway, I called him to see when he was going to get some, and he told me he was never out, and he does have some. I just thought I'd pass that on to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, we have to be careful about those kinds of comments because I can't tell what you've got in your wallet, and that's what we're talking about, Yeah. How could I can't read your mind. So yeah, let's be careful about those kinds of things. But thank you, Terry. And somebody had a question about if you use 3408 on the pieces like we saw earlier tonight, what do you use on pens? And I don't know enough about the Parfix to recommend what that product is for pens. What is it? Anybody got it? Anybody know it?
3460.
3460 is for pens. Okay.
So what's the difference in the two?
Drying time.
The 60 is thicker than the 3408 because the 3408 will penetrate too deep. You don't want on pens for it to penetrate that deep.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So there you go, Bob.
You said drying time, 3460. What's the drying time?
It dries a little bit faster than the 3408.
You know, Charlie?
I can't remember what the time was.
Okay.
Hey, Captain. I think Doug Rowe had something to show.
Oh, the professor's with us. Let's go to the professor. Professor Rowe, what do you have tonight, sir?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I made it in at the last minute. I made a walnut bowl this week. Let me see. Hey, there's my face. There's my, oh wait, that's not a hat. There's the bottom side. I'm in the house, not in the shop, so I don't have the best lighting. But I stuck some resin with some mica powder in the wormholes and the cracks. And so it turned out kind of cool. Brenda probably sees a face in there looking at her.
Brenda's not with us tonight. Boy, am I glad, because this will go on forever.
Uh-oh. Anyway, yeah, I kind of thought maybe there was a couple of eyeballs staring at you.
Yep.
But yeah, I finally got out in the shop.
Looked like a
and
slee stack.
I got to have 2 cool phone calls yesterday. Talked to Doug Moore and gave him a hard time again about not being in our meetings. And then now I just forgot the name. I got to talk to somebody else from our club last night.
That was me.
That was you. There we
Yeah.
go. It was him. So it was just kind of fun, you know. And once again, that's what I love about this club. You can just talk to somebody in some other state and just, I don't know, get on the video chat and talk with her. And that was pretty cool for me last night.
Good. Hey, Billy, do you see what I see, Billy? I mean, I got a glimpse of it a second ago. He almost needs a haircut.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
It's
almost,
getting there.
Almost a haircut. That's good looking good, Professor. All right. Thank you, Doug.
I sure do miss you all. And I am, you know, if I'd ever get figured out how to get back in the zone in this new job and get home at a decent time, but I am loving the job though. So that's
welcome
cool.
to teaching. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but it is fun. I do love it. I'm not complaining at all. But it's taken me a little bit more time after school every day than I thought it was going to.
Well, you're doing good though. You're doing good.
All right.
The one thing the world needs is an education.
Yeah. It would have been better if I'd have got one. I'd probably be a better teacher, but oh wait.
Oops. Right. Thank you, Doug. Dean Grimes just popped up. Dean, did you have something, sir? Because you came up on the screen.
I did not. Nothing to
All
share
right.
tonight.
Okay. You've been turning, of course, but just nothing to part with. All right, folks. It's been an interesting evening. I thank you for joining us. This week makes us 3 years old. This club has been around 3 years. And that's when I called a whole bunch of friends and said, will this work? And they said, sure, it'll work. And then a bunch of my other friends said, you'll never get it going. It'd be hell to do an hour. We do 3.5 hours and it ain't been hell. And it went on longer than that at one time. I had to pull the plug on it because Dane and some guys would go on until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, because we were all sitting on the tailgate of the truck talking wood turning. And that's what we do here. So if you've got an idea, you have something to share, you have a question, you have a problem, you have a tip, you have a hint, whatever, this is where you bring it right here. We don't have the rules that some other folks have. We don't. I'm not going to limit anything. One thing, no commercial promotion. That's it. Because I don't want to make anybody mad. I mean, I got friends that sell all this stuff, and some friends sell against other friends, but they're all friends. And I don't want to say I got to use Vince's work rather than using Kenny's work or material, whatever. So let's just talk about turning what turning does. And somebody said tonight, you only learn when you make a mistake, and you're as proud as hell when you do it right. So let's get out in the shop and get it done right. I'm Captain Eddie Castle on behalf of worldwidewoodturners.org. We're going to be out of here tonight, and we'll see you next Wednesday evening. If that's it, we're just going to see you next Wednesday evening. Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Have a great week.
Take care.
Night all.
Stay safe.
Oh, safety is a key. Pray for Kim and any other folks that are over there in Tampa. They could use your prayers. All right. With that, I'm going to say good night. See you next time.